Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advanced Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Turn Extension. My name is Tony, or Polar Bear Cub on the forums.
It's Kevin.
And this is Gaston.
Alright, so currently Devin is going to the hoedown, so he won't be coming with us today on our fun adventure.
It's not a hoedown.
It's a hoedown.
Alright, very well, it's a hoedown.
He lives
I'm
in
pretty
West
sure it's a
Virginia.
hoedown.
Yeah. When you live in West Virginia, it's a hoedown.
Understood.
I apologize for any of our West Virginian listeners.
So they're not far away. They can come to you and lynch you.
That is true. What's an interesting thing, by the way, is the most amount of people that listen to us is in California.
Hey, that's my home turf.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's been the I was looking at some analytics, and that was the highest download. It goes California, and then next is Virginia. For our top two.
We download ourselves.
Hey, yeah, probably. Yeah, that was a kind of fun thing. We had some other people in Europe and stuff like that to listen to us. I think we had a person in Brazil, or I think it was only one person because they had like 50 downloads. So I'm pretty sure there's just one single guy in Brazil listening to us. So thank you for whoever that is.
Dude, if you're the Brazil listener, post in the comments. Shout out to you.
I know. All right, so we posted something up a little bit ago on the Facebook forums, and I kind of came up with talking about this, especially when we had some negative feedback on one of my favorite models in the game, and I think it was unjustly called an overcosted piece of crap. Not overcosted, overpowered piece of crap.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is not overcosted.
When I argue that it's fair and balanced. But it really made me think about kind of the battle engines in general. So I've got a couple questions for you guys. But first off, what I really want to know is, what do you honestly think is, in your opinion, the most powerful battle engine in the game currently?
TTB. I think we already discussed this at length in a prior episode.
I disagree that it's the TTP.
I think it's going to be the Death Knell.
You think it's the Death Knell? Interesting. That's very different than what I thought.
No, not even close.
Why not?
The Death Knell's an overpriced Creel Stone.
Yeah, but it's only 13 points.
The Death Knell is in literally every list.
That is true.
It's literally in every list because it was designed for that way. So we need to take a step back and look at the lifetime of battle engines. In Mark 1, non-existent. In Mark 2, they came out and were never used. Well, I should say never. They were hardly ever used regularly in the national meta. I say national meta because I recognize that local metas probably had people who were like, I'm going to use it and make it good. Cool. Congratulations. Good for you. Mark 3. If
you're curious, those people were all named Taudark.
That is true.
Nope. Never touched a battle engine once until Mark 3. Mark 3 came around, and Privateer Press intentionally went back to all the battle engines even after their release of the Mark 3 versions, which still weren't good enough, and looked across the board at all of them. I think there was one of the first. It wasn't the first, but it was one of the beginning CIDs, wasn't it?
It was
the one after Grimkin.
Yeah.
No, I think it was the third one, wasn't it? I thought it went Grimkin, SR 2017, and then Battle Engines.
I didn't count SR-17.
Oh.
Yeah. So ideally, it's a situation where the battle engines nowadays aren't the battle engines we've ever seen before. Like Privateer Press intentionally went and designed them to be played regularly, or I shouldn't say regularly, because with the exception of the Death Knell, which in my opinion was designed to be used across the board in Grimkin, all the other factions have other resources that in their repertoire that can do more or serve more purposes than their battle engine. But the battle engine has enough of a value that you ask yourself the question. And honestly, when it comes to miniature design, that's the only thing, that's the best you can hope for, which is, do you ask a question? Because auto-include always is a bad state to be in, and never taken is a bad state to be in.
So then what's your definition of what's most powerful?
Most powerful is something that is going to return.
Would it be something that's auto-include?
No.
Like the Death Knell?
It's something that is going to be is going to return its points value back to the list.
Like a battle engine that can
Or actually,
increase the
more than
armor
its points value.
and can push souls to other models or corpse tokens and
That's a
to other
support
models.
functionality. That is a support functionality, and you cannot assign a point value to support functionality because there's too many randomized variables involved with that.
So you've never felt that a support model was overpowered?
I have felt a support model contributes too much or contributes too little,
Interesting.
but no, I've never come across a support model that I'm like, that thing is broken as fuck.
I feel like we need to like put you on the couch and kind of like war game Freud you.
I know, seriously. So I don't agree that it's a death knell, but
it becomes a situation where if you're looking at support models like battle engine support models, so we're talking what, the death nail, the Menoth one, kind
bullshit hooch holler.
I don't consider the hooch hollers. Well, yes, it is a support one, but I'm looking at that freaking the gun, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the bullshit gun. That model is fucking broken.
I mean, it's almost like the death nail is in a category all on its own because it feels like the only, because even the Menoth one has a decent gun to it. The death nail is the only one that feels like it's purely support.
But I mean, look how cheap it is compared to the other ones. It's only
You do know that the
13
Death Nail's a
points.
weapon master.
Yes, sure. Bring your death nail into my lines. Thank you.
It stood up to 2 rounds with my Dracodile.
Well, clearly you have terrible dice.
I was gonna say, stop being a shitty player.
No, because it also has the no healing aura. So once it charged your Dracodile and knocked out a, I think it was the Spirit, then you can't heal it. And then it just kept doing, weapon master attacks.
Oh, and it can also heal itself.
You had a situation where it knocked out the Spirit. That specific situational event caused it to kill your Dracodile. Yes.
Well, but it also contributed every single turn to support.
I don't consider support driving towards overpower. Anytime I
think
look
you're
at
crazy.
a battle engine, well, that's okay. That's fine. Anytime I look at a battle engine and you start talking about OP battle engines, I'm immediately thinking, how does this battle engine contribute to removing models on the table to provide me an attritional value? And that's the TEP, hands down.
So my argument's going to be, and honestly, I really think the Wraith engine. I hate the Wraith engine. The fact that it's a giant model that is can only be targeted by magical attacks, that is extremely challenging just by itself.
You know what's interesting about the Wraith engine?
One,
It has really strong support.
it is very strong support. It also has power push strength 15. It has 7 inches. It has Dark Shroud on itself.
I really want that rule to be Darth Shroud now.
Yeah, Dark Shroud. It can also make 3 attacks because it has Rapid Strike. And, the fact that it's, incorporeal, like, that's amazing. Oh, and it you can't take control of it at all, which is kind of weird because I don't think you could only take control of battle engines in general, but it has special ability that says opponents cannot take control of this model.
So there is a spell called Dominate Undead, and because it was undead, you could take control of it.
Oh, interesting. That would have been awesome.
I don't know if that spell even still exists in the game after the minions CID because it's on the Gatorman Witch Doctor.
Oh, okay. Also, and it's normally armor 18, but it has on the hollowed, which I think it affects itself. So it gives itself +2 armor against range and magical attacks.
So to be clear, you just mentioned all of its damage output through Dark Shroud, through Rapid Strike, through the ability of spawning other things that can also activate and kill things, and the fact that it has Unhallowed as an armor buff, and that one rule, even though you mentioned 7 other things that cause damage, that one rule turns it into a support model. I think we need to redefine what a support model is, because one rule is not a support model.
I feel like you need to go work for the government because there's some moving goalposts in this
I do
football
work for the
game
government,
right here.
oddly enough. I don't consider a model that's got 6 or 7 different rules that allows it to stay alive, provide a presence on the table, and kill things while still living. Oh, and by the way, it gives +2 armor as a support model.
Well, it gets +2 armor to itself and -2 armor to other models. So then again, let's go back to it. That model's fucking broken. Okay? On a charge, it's doing POW 17, fucking 3 dice of damage on, 4 dice, 3 dice of damage on the first attack, and then power 17 on 2 other attacks.
To be clear, how many attacks does the TEP get?
It can get at most 3. And if I'm doing, sorry, it can get at
4.
most 4. But if I'm doing 4, it's power 11 rat 5.
Okay, so if I put in power 11 and then I turn around and get 3 dice damage, I get 3 attacks?
Yeah, you get 3 attacks.
So 3 attacks Weapon Master?
No, not 3 attacks Weapon Master.
That can
You said
hit
3
with
dice
a
to hit.
range that 3 dice damage.
Okay,
So
yeah.
adding 1 to the dice damage means I get 3 attacks on 3 dice Weapon Master attacks on a range 10 spray that hit multiple targets.
Actually, hold on, I lied. I think you can actually get 5 attacks. Hold on.
Yeah, see, I mean...
Because it has the ability to do 2 shots. Damn it, I think I lied.
Fairly certain the TEP... I'm not going to say the Wraith Engine is a bad model. It's a freaking awesome model. I don't think that it's more overpowered than the TEP.
So this is the thing, okay? So look, so TEP, right? I can potentially do 3 attacks. That's Weapon Master, power 11, and I'm doing 3 dice on the hit with a rat 5, right? The Crix model, on the other hand, is a base mat 7, so that's effectively like an additional boost. He's getting 3 attacks. And with it being power plus strength 17, I'm doing way more damage on average on that. So I literally have to spread all my dice out to not even get as much damage as the Wraith Engine can do against a single model.
Okay. I'm going to referee you two. Can we say that in order to be a strong battle engine, you have to have a strong support ability, a large number of attacks, a boosting mechanic, and typically fall into the ranged category?
If we're going by that, then yes, because the TEP then does not have a support mechanic.
I think you need 3 of I think you need 3 of those 4.
So then which battle engine do you then think, other than the goddamn TEP? I'm sick of talking about that thing.
Me too, because it's fair and balanced.
Every single episode.
It is fair and fucking balanced, and I've been upset since that cast. God damn it.
Oh my god. Other than the TEP, then, Kevin, what is the strongest battle engine? What would you say is TEP Junior?
Scrolling through my war room, I think
Stormstrider probably is a close second.
Bias.
No, not the Stormstrider.
Are you serious?
I think Stormstrider is pretty strong. Do you not agree?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm looking at stuff like the Throne, the Legion Throne of Everbite is strong. The Scorn one's meh. The Grimkin one's meh. The
Scorn one is awesome. What are you talking about?
Okay, we're gonna take this away from you.
Are you fucking kidding me? The Scorn one's bullshit, man. Look how many fucking...
Scorn one might actually be the most played one at this point in the meta.
Yeah, because it's bullshit. Especially because literally, how many people were trying to play a double Scorn battle engine? And their freaking
one of those lists might have been double Old Witch. We weren't really sure.
or double, I don't know what that model is because it's not put together.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't sure if he wanted to play Grimkin or Scorn that day, so he just brought double Old Witch.
I don't know. I legitimately don't know what the next one that falls up after TEP. I may be
serious,
TEP touch that I'm just not ready to prepare anybody else to that level.
What do you think, Herman? Besides, well, you already said the Death Knell.
The Death Knell, the Scorn, Siege Animanterix, the Signar, Stormstrider, the TEP,
the Wraith Engine,
the Wraith Engine are all the most commonly seen battle engines and lists.
Well, we weren't talking about commonly seen, though.
But
commonly seen is an indication of power level.
Yeah, I think commonly seen equates to power level very easily.
Commonly seen equates to how many people are playing that faction.
I disagree because you barely see Convergence players. But yeah,
so are you going to tell me that the Legion battle engine is not a strong battle engine because only one person plays it?
I think if you look at it, I think maybe it's a battle engine that hasn't been unlocked. But when I look at the Legion forums, I'm not seeing people jumping and hollering for their battle engine to Throne.
They have the ability to take in oracles, and they choose not to.
I don't know why. I legitimately don't know why.
I've actually played against in oracles, and it was quite strong.
It actually doesn't look like that bad of a model. It's cheap. It's 31 points. It has 4 range 16 attacks at a chain weapon. And then it can also do a spell.
Every time.
Every time it destroys. But it does have destroy model, so it's usually better against solos.
It has to destroy a model with Mat 7, POW 16.
That's and the weapons get range 4 during this model's activation.
Yeah, but I mean, people take it with Fianna and put, was it Fury on it, Rage on it, whatever the hell it's called, so it's plus 3 strength.
It's just, the model is... But it's not TEP.
It's so much cheaper than a TEP, though. That's bullshit.
It doesn't have 3 shield guards a turn.
I think that it's much like when you're dealing with factions, the battle engines, you get the 1 or 2 that are at extreme top and the 1 or 2 that are extreme bottom, and then the middle ground comes this kind of variation of, higher end middle ground, lower end middle ground.
Unfortunately, Kevin just kind of puts them in TEP versus everybody else.
Yep. TEP
Which
at
is
the
a
top,
shame.
Blockhouse at the bottom.
Blockhouse isn't a battle engine tier.
It is a structure, sir.
A structure is a unmoving battle engine counterpoint.
No.
It's not defined as that.
No.
It's not defined as that.
Oh, no.
The very concept is a battle engine that does not move.
Man, the blockhouse really disappoints me. Different topic.
Really? Because it looks really nice painted.
It is. That's what pisses me off even more, in all honesty. Kevin did a great job painting it, and I'm like frustrated because it looks really, really nice.
You're frustrated. Be the guy painting it going, this'll never see the table. This'll never see the table.
Well, Kevin, it's got to see the table when you play.
Like Kevin.
When you play my Signar, because you just got a whole boatload of trenchers in the mail with Haley 3, I might add. So all you need is a couple jacks. Kevin, you literally have an entire army to play minus a couple jacks.
Never going to happen.
I'm just saying, you have a Warcaster, probably the best Warcaster for Gravediggers, and you have the Gravedigger boat.
Yeah, I'm also struggling to see how you don't love the blockhouse with her.
I think the issue is because of his range gun. It struggles a lot because it can't move at all. So if you go first, you have to have models come so far in, and I don't think you get the benefit of its recursion ability.
I think I'm just embittered by the fact of one of the tricks of Haley 3 in Gravediggers is you get this line of trenchers that gets to put up a cloud wall, and you're like, I've got a cloud wall everywhere, and you can't shoot my army except for my blockhouse. Oh fuck.
That's
I
true.
think you're missing where I was going with that.
Okay.
Which is not towards the blockhouse. It's towards the trenches.
Yeah.
That's true,
You've
yeah.
got
The
a caster
trenches
who's
are
already
nice.
asinine to kill, and now you're going to give him cover wherever you want.
Yep. And every time, and you don't have to waste focus to I forget what it is, reanimate or whatever it is that she can do to grunt models and stuff like that. If the grunt models are trenchers, because the blockhouse will do it for you.
That's true. You do D3, but it does have to be pretty close. So I think it does limit where it needs to go. That blockhouse effectively needs to go almost in the center of the board if you know you're not going to be able to really use its gun anyways.
How many times do trenchers in a game ever make it past the halfway line?
They don't move forward, so they
Yeah.
don't make it past the halfway line.
Yeah. So you don't need to be that far in order for the blockhouse to contribute to your trenchers. But it again goes back to any guns you have is going to be shot at the blockhouse because you can't shoot anything else because it's behind a cloud wall.
I just think with how aggressive 2017 is, I think the blockhouse is not in the best position for 2017.
Quite possibly not, but it is in a position to aggravate the shit out of anybody who has to play against Sailor 3 even more.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
And you get a scenario where there's a close to your deployment zone flag. If you put the blockhouse next to the flag, and then you turn around and put like your master gunner next to touching the flag and base to base with the blockhouse, so it can turn around and boost the blockhouse shot and score a scenario. Sure, what the fuck?
Yeah, and if you don't think the Storm Strider is ridiculous, then I don't know what you're on.
I legitimately probably don't think it's enough because I have yet to ever encounter it in Mark III yet.
It'll wreck entire armies on its own.
Well, Kevin, don't worry. I have 2 of them.
No, okay, cool.
One day I'll actually build them, and we can play them.
Yeah, one day Kevin will actually build them and you can play them.
That's true. One day Kevin will build them and paint them, and then I can play them.
If I ever put together the Storm Strider, I'm absolutely doing what's his name's where he actually put the plasma things on top.
Was that Gibbs or was that
No, it wasn't
Agamemnon?
Gibbs. It was Agamemnon. Yeah, I wanted to buy it, and it was just a little bit too far out of my...
Amazing.
It was just...
Yeah, the Van de Graaff generators.
Yeah, I really wanted to buy it, but it was a little bit too far out of my price range. But it was beautiful work.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job on those.
Oh, it was amazing.
So, I mean, I think Privateer Press did a really good job of elevating to the battle engines to a level where most of the battle engines ask the question, do you want to take me, when the theme allows, obviously, do you want to take me? And there's a legitimate, maybe I do, maybe I don't, as opposed to prior to the CID, which is, fuck no.
I think they hit that point on about maybe 70% of them.
I think so, yeah.
So if you're going to force me to exclude structure, which I think is a horrible decision because a structure is just an movable battle engine, what is the worst battle engine in the game right now? If you say TEP, I'm hanging up this phone, I'm driving down your house, and I'm punching you in the throat.
I'm just saying it has the lowest amount of health boxes out of any other battle engine.
I'm sorry, gotta start driving.
I'm just stating a fact. Come on.
I'm glad Tony said that rather than me because
I'm a lot
that's a lot
closer
longer
to you.
drive. No, it's the Meat Thresher.
You still think it's a Meat Thresher?
Even over the Sacravolt?
Oh yeah, the Sacravolt is actually makes it into a ton of lists because it has a magical RFP gun.
So I guess my question is, if you think the Meat Thresher for some weird reason is the worst battle engine, then how come you built a list with it?
Because he likes to torture himself.
Because I can't help myself. Also, I already have multiple lists with the Sacravolt, so. But let me put you this way: why do you think the Meat Thresher is not the worst battle engine?
So my first argument is always going to be is that it has more than health boxes than the TEP. It only has 21. That's the first argument. And two, it has D3 plus 1 gun. That's power 13, range 12. So that's pretty solid. It is on a RAP 5, but that happens. And then even it's it can attack and shoot at the exact same time, or was that still Mark II?
It can attack and shoot.
So it can attack and shoot at the same time, which is awesome. And its weapon is a high impact. So when it makes its initial attack, it can make one melee attack with this weapon against each model in its line of sight, and that's freaking awesome. And it knocks down models. And it also gains trash, so after the model's knocked down, it can gain additional die on the damage rolls.
Yeah, I'm less impressed with the Hailer as I am with the Crusher, but I guess that's just because I look at stuff like Grinding Wheel, and I'm like, oh god, this sucks.
Yeah, even with a Grinding Wheel, this weapon gains an additional die on attack rolls against small and medium-based models. It's really powerful for damage and melee.
And the fact that it has knockdown on it, and the fact that it has trash on it, so you get another additional die.
Yeah, and you can give +2 speed with only taking D3 damage.
Now, all that I just said, I kind of agree with Herman. It's the Meat Thresher.
You think? Really?
Yeah.
Which one's worse?
It's the problem is that all of these rules are amazing, and I would love nothing more than to play a list where I'm like, hey, I'm going to put Meat Thresher on here, and I know it's completely horrible, but I'm going to put elasticity on it, and then I'm just going to turn around and 2-inch just trash, grind wheel everything in my way. You're going to get it on the table. It's going to be like, I'm going to do all this amazing thing. What do you mean pick up my Meat Thresher, you asshole?
I don't know. I'm wondering if the Celestial Falcon is worse. It's a pretty high point cost. It's 20 health boxes.
It was bad up until the point where it became self-sufficient in the last CID.
I'm trying to think of where does it get self-sufficient?
The fact that it basically became Fury Bank, so it kind of became this pseudo sort of Creel Stone for the Crix players, but the fact that it can pull off of, so you get two the little bobbleheads, the Wold Weirds, mm-hmm. and they get to do all their shooting and stuff like that, and then it turns around and gets to consume that Fury and then spend that Fury. So it's like you get to build this little shooting gallery that's self-sufficient. The Wold Weirds never have to be I haven't played Hordes in forever. when you take the Fury off of things leashed. They're never to be leashed because the Celestial Fulcrum will do it for you, and then that by virtue also feeds the Celestial Fulcrum, so it's circle recycling.
See, but I think that hurts. I think that hurts them because you're effectively having to bring 2 more points. So instead of it being 19 points, now how much is it for each of those War Beasts? Another 6 points maybe? Or are they cheaper? Are they 4?
It's way more than that.
The Wold Weirds, the little ones, they're 9 points apiece. That come with a POW 12 gun that gets frickin' purgation added onto it.
Right. So now you're paying an additional 18 points for those 2 models, and you have to bring more beasts to make sure that your Warlock has enough Fury on it throughout the entire game.
The difference between the Celestial Fulcrum and the Meat Thresher is the Fulcrum has the ability to choose when to boost. It's not situational. Whereas all of the Meat Thresher's abilities are actually situational.
Also with your package that you're complaining about, you're getting 9 shots, and one of the things between the Wold Weirds and the Celestial Fulcrum.
How you get 9 shots?
The Weirds are Ratifier 3.
Ratifier 3.
Yep, Ratifier.
It's actually kind of good. I wouldn't say it's crazy because it's not necessarily ripping up, but I think they developed a nice little package for it.
Well, it's kind of funny because I actually literally just played against that package over the weekend.
It's an expensive light War Beast. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's an expensive light War Beast.
All light War Beasts are expensive.
Yeah. War Beasts, period, are, but we won't get into that. We'll do that on another episode.
Another septisode.
Septisode.
Man, we're great with words today.
So I did actually play against it over the weekend. It is quite good, and one of the things about it that you don't really consider is how it circumvents a lot of defensive capabilities between the spray, the AoE, and the Electroleap, and the fact that you are able to boost those at will whenever you choose. So I was in a situation where I was trying to use Orin Midwinter to protect my beasts from Hunter's Mark, so that way he couldn't land it with the Black-clad Wayfarers.
Mm-hmm.
So Orin Midwinter has the ability to go stealth, so he went stealth, at which point I now only have to position him so that way he's in range to prevent things, 3 inches, but not in range for the thing to walk and spray over, which ignores stealth, or to Electroleap to him, which would ignore stealth, or to land an AoE on him, which would ignore the stealth.
Well, I mean, clearly you just shouldn't have done stealth.
Any and all of those can be boosted is significant. It's just something you have to consider, not just the attacks it can make, or the quantity of attacks that it can make, or even the power of the attacks, but also the effect of the attacks. That's what makes the Archaeantric Force Generator so powerful. It only gets the 2 shots, but each shot has a very specific and spectacular effect.
And it goes back to my argument, the TEP just doesn't have that.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
No, but your dice have it.
Yeah. If you want to start complaining about a battle engine and saying how the TP is not as good as something, I think you need to start looking at stuff like the frickin' the Hooch Hauler and stuff like that.
The Hooch Hauler is fantastic.
The Hooch Hauler is amazing. God, man, that model.
When it starts putting down, two spray 10s that are continuous fire and POW 12s and stuff like that. I mean, it's oof.
God, the thing is it lays out oil, and the oil is.
Oil is extremely powerful, I think, with a model like that. That is just awesome.
Yeah.
And it's got a Hooch Hauler. I mean, that's awesome.
So we're looking
at board with that.
We're looking at an 18-point model that comes with 3 fire attacks. Yeah, 1 AoE and 2 sprays that are continuous fire, but it comes with the back-end rule of, what was it?
Oil. Or it applies the oil effect on the AoE.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember which rule it was. There was a beer wagon rule that does oil?
It's not fuel for the fire. That's protectorate. I forget.
Weird. I don't actually see it in
high proof. It's under
the gun.
It's under cast bomb. It's called high proof, and basically a model that's hit with an attack suffers oil for 1 round. When a model affected by oil suffers a fire damage effect, the roll it is automatically boosted. So basically, you hit it with the cast bomb, and then you torch it with 2 sprays.
No, I think it's. I was looking in my war room and I actually don't see it in there, which is really strange.
That's because it's not released yet.
Yeah, but I thought all of the rules for trolls were already they were released in November.
Nope.
Nobody really knows what PP does with their releases.
I am slightly entertained that its range weapon is torch. Sure.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, so it charges in. It's got the impact attack at POW 14. It's got what? Does it have the initial attack at POW 14 as well as a cavalry?
Yep.
Then that has knockdown, and then you get to drop a boosted POW 16 because the oil will affect on the hit, and then the damage roll is fire type, and then two boosted POW 12s.
It's a really strong model. And
In addition
just the
to
fact that
just
also...
dropping the oil and then
it's
using like fire eaters.
And it's a strong support, and it gets reposition.
It's funny how that support aspect keeps coming up, isn't it, Tony?
It is very interesting.
It's funny that we keep talking about all these things that it does to damage things, and then when the one support rule comes in, you guys are like, oh, it's a support model.
Whoa. There's two support rules on this, sir.
It just killed 19 things, but it's got a support rule, therefore it's a support model.
Okay, it's got two support things, first off. It gives them Stumbling Drunk, and it gives them Veteran Leader. So that's two, sir. On a Command 10 model.
Done with you two.
I'm just saying.
Hang on, Sally. Let me ask you this. If it did not have the support rules, why would I take it over a War Beast?
Because it's called a Hooch Hauler.
Because North King Fire Eaters say yay?
But no, that's a support rule. The oil is a support rule. That supports other models.
The oil is a damage rule. Thank you.
You see, so you don't have an actual answer because what differentiates the battle engines from the reason why you would take literally a War Beast or a Warjack is the support rules. That's the differentiator. The rest of it is just making sure that the battle engine is worth the goddamn points.
So you're saying that whenever I look at a card, anything that's on the back of the card is a support rule, only the things on the front of the card are actual damage.
I'm saying the things that interact with other models are support rules.
Reaching.
Yes, you are.
But it's okay, Kevin. We still support you.
Hey,
I see what you did there, you asshole. But even though
I love clever Tony.
Even though the Hooch Hauler is amazing, and I kind of, like I'm dreading seeing it on the table, I still think the TEP is better. Oh, speaking of TEP, David Canty, you're on my shit list.
Why is he on your shit list?
Because he turned around and went out and bought 2 TEPs to terrorize his meta.
That's awesome. Good for you, David Canty. I'm proud of you. Way to throw away that terrible scorn and get with the winning side.
See, even he thought the Siege Animatrix was a crap battle engine.
He never stated that.
You're so wrong about that.
So I do have. So I guess we already kind of talked about it a little bit, but what did you guys think about models that do run? What battle engines do you think run better in pairs? For me, I definitely think the TAP is very solid in pairs, but I also think the Siege Animatrix is another good one and that runs well in pairs. Actually, I really think
Storm Strider.
Yeah, I'll say Storm Strider. What else?
I mean, is there honestly one that? If we take the Meat Thresher out of the equation... Actually, if we take minions out of the equation, how about that? Is there any battle engine that doesn't? That you wouldn't want to see in pairs?
I'm not a fan of the Vessel of Judgment in pairs.
Yeah, I could get that. I can get behind that.
I mean, the difference is when you start looking at the Storm Strider, you start looking at the Animatrix, and you start looking at the TEP. When you take them in pairs, they have the ability to cover both infantry and a heavy, in addition to all their other abilities.
Yeah.
A lot of the battle engines don't really do that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen double Storm Strider lists. We've seen double War, or the Apple Cart, I forget what it's called in Khador. So,
Gun carriage.
Gun carriage, thank you. We've seen double Wraith engine. I don't think we've seen Arcantric turbine, or Arcantric generators.
They're typically taken singly.
Yeah. We've seen double Convergence. We've seen double Trolls. I don't think we've seen double Circle. I know we've seen double Legion, double Scorn. I don't think you can take 2 Grimkin. And I know I've seen people playing double not Earthbreakers. What the hell are they called? Siege Crawlers. I've seen double Siege Crawlers. I don't agree with it, but I've seen it.
What about double Old Witch 3s?
Sure. Old Witch 1 and Old Witch 2 both on the table.
That doesn't sound broken at all. It sounds fair and balanced.
Two completely different factions should be totally allowed.
So
Actually, can you do that in Unleashed?
what? No. Yeah, I think it's...
Old Witch 2 and Old Witch 3?
Actually, I haven't read the Unleashed rules out of the new Prime.
I'm assuming you mean Unbound.
I'm sorry,
Or
Unbound, yeah.
sorry.
I'm assuming no, but I actually don't know because I haven't read through the rules yet.
It's okay. No one else has either.
I was gonna say you're not any different from other people.
Ouch, guys, ouch.
So before we jump in, because I actually want to hear this Meat Thresher torture.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
I want to toss it out to the listeners. Be in the comments below or on the Facebook feed. Post
Explain to
your-
Kevin how much more right me and Tony are than he is.
Jesus Christ,
Please
just
do it.
Just shut up. List your number one best. What is the best battle engine in the game, and what is the worst battle engine in the game?
All right, so let's hear this. Awesome.
I have got to hear this torture because I
Yeah.
know full well when he was building the list, he's like, "No, don't make me do this."
Stop.
Well, of course,
stop adding.
it's reflected in the name of the list, which is
Well-
I hate Ricard.
Nice.
Because frickin' Crawford got the juices flowing, and I'm like, well, can you do what the Scorn does with the double Animatrix with the double Meat Threshers? And the answer is, of course not. So I was kind of joking that, the Meat Thresher is always the bridesmaid. It's never the bride.
Well, I mean, the Meat Thresher is Scorn's lesser battle engine.
Oh, it's everybody's lesser battle engine. It's not even limited to Scorn. Actually, I think it might now work for every faction, and they still, yep, it works for all four of them, and they still don't want it.
God.
So what Ricard had actually tossed out and what we started working on was actually Rask with the Meat Thresher. So the list is Rask will work for food, has Rask, a Soul Slave, 2 Black-Eyed Rasslers, a Meat Thresher, Dahlia and Scarith, Orin Midwinter, Rorschach Brine, 2 units of Pharaoh Valkyries, and Linus Wesselbaum and Edria...
Can you give those names one more time, please?
I think it's Venus Pesselbaum and Ledria Irr.
Yeah, you're done.
No, that sounds right.
I think that's pretty phonetic. So the concept on it is with the Meat Thresher, you can put Fury on it from Rask, and that'll bump it up all the way up to Pound 19, Weapon Master. And then additionally to that, the Meat Thresher has Bulldoze, and Rask has Veil of Mist, which lets you move through models. So you can actually run the Meat Thresher through your opponent's army and then bulldoze them back towards you 3 inches, which is always kind of neat and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The additional synergies is the Meat Thresher will give Dahlia and Scarith stealth. So now you're dealing with the stealth snake, which is always nice and fun. And then to stack on a little bit extra with it is the CID rules from Linus and Edria, which they may or may not change. But the big one is they took away the warrior model restriction on applied knowledge. So now you can have your Meat Thresher determining what column it does the damage to on a warjack. So then you're sending it in, Pound 19. That'll do approximately 14 damage and armor 19 on the charge. Just knock out the Cortex there. It has the ability to Thresher. So you can, I think, pretty reasonably get 2 warjacks in on it. So if it gets both of them, it's only a Pound 19 3d6 on the other one, so that's only 10 damage. But then you get the extra shots from the gun as well. Both the warjacks will be knocked down, and then you can put the extra shots in to finish off the Cortex. So you can very reasonably, I think, cripple 2 heavy warjacks with 1 Meat Thresher in one go.
So
Oh, also you have Rask's feet to deliver it, so you can't attack it on the way in.
So I hear what you're saying, but I think there's a caster who could do it better.
Who?
Sturm and Drang.
No.
Oh, yeah, dude. Summer Drink's totally the best.
Polarity
Nope.
Field?
We have a video of this. We literally have a video of this. And you
Well,
know
you-
what happened? It didn't get done.
You didn't put Polarity Field on the battle engine so it couldn't be charged?
I did, but the problem was it prevented my entire army from moving up. So it was absolutely awful. And the nicest thing that Steve did to me that game was killing the stupid thing. It literally was it was 18 points back then. It was 18 points holding me back.
Wow.
And I almost could have won that game. I screwed up a little bit going for an assassination, and he was able to dodge away. But like just throwing that thing in the trash was like the best part of that game for me. Because all of a sudden I could move my freaking army.
Am I wrong in the assumption that if you can't charge the Meat Thresher at armor 19, it's less likely to die to range shooting?
Well, I mean, if you can't charge it, you can still shoot it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is if you can is it common for your Meat Thresher to be taken off the table due to range?
No, because the Meat Thresher itself only does work realistically in melee. I actually have used it as a gun platform, particularly with Midas a lot for Calamity, because then the gunshots are what? They're 13 base, they're 15 because of volume of fire, and then 17 with Calamity on large base models. So then you can start kind of, picking out models as they come towards you, and then you charge in and do what you need to do, but then it inevitably dies.
So what
you are not, I will meet you halfway though. You're not crazy on a huge base model with Sturm and Drang. You just have the wrong huge base model with Sturm and Drang.
The Dracodile?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's coming.
That's what I'm afraid of.
It's like coming out of that water.
Because then you can't charge it, and you have to have Pathfinder to get close to it.
I almost wonder if the thing the Meat Thresher needs the most is like a Pharaoh solo that gives you Tactician Pharaoh.
It's still so big that it's too big. It's still not worth it. I mean, it's a nice idea, but it suffers from being a melee battle engine, and then it suffers from having restricted boosting mechanics, where you're only boosting to hit on small medium base models. So now you're relying on Mat 6 to hit those jacks and knock them down. You only get the additional die on the damage roll if they're knocked down. So anything in Convergence that's steady, you lose that die on.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You can't boost the range at all.
I just thought about that. So I'm looking at the other melee battle engines. So basically we're looking at like Crix and Legion, and both of them have either the ability or the rules to not be in the way due to incorporeal, or not be in the way because they have a 4-inch reach at the time that they want to hit something.
Yeah, the Meat Thresher has the rule to be in the way.
Meat Thresher rule. Move, bitch.
But then what's kind of interesting and a little frustrating was like at the start of the CID, we're like, oh, thank God you buffed this thing. Hallelujah. And then like no one ever tested it after that. But all the rules that actually reflect the Meat Thresher ended up on the Khador Battle Wagon and the Troll Wagon, where they're like running over models. Like if you look at the rules, it really those should be on the Meat Thresher. So it was an example of something that was so bad that any buff was like, thank God, and then it just, at the end of it, everything else got buffed even beyond it.
So if you took the Meat Thresher and you made it, I'm going to go crazy town here. You make it 18 points, but you give it sprint. Is that enough?
No. There's no way in hell I'm taking it for 18 points.
16 points in sprint?
Yeah.
And 8
that would help. That would help. Used to be able to put sprint on it in Mark II.
Yeah, I was
just have a reposition.
No, I was going to say, I just remember when it had like a cavalry reposition that had some presence to it. I'm just wondering if you give it just a little bit more by giving it some sort of innate sprint so it gets the full 6, not just 3 or 5.
Well, it can do. It can be speed 8. So you could go in 11. It's 12-inch technically threat range, then sprint back 8. Yeah, no, I mean it needs that repositioning, and the Sacro Vault was getting retuned, and it's a CID failure.
Yeah, damn it, Hungerford.
Unfortunately. Well, there's no feedback on it.
Well,
like I didn't do anything with it. Like I literally played it that one time, that 1 week, and then have not touched it for 8 months.
That's a little disappointing.
Well, if Linus stays out the same way, then I'll probably try it.
It's honestly one of those models that I would love to see on the table merely for, if nothing more than just the aesthetic values of these crazy-ass pigs driving around Mad Max-style vehicles.
Well, then how about you and me play a game on tape? How about you and me play a game on tape?
Sure.
I'll bring the Meat Thresher.
Bring 2.
I don't have to, and I'm not buying another one.
What the fuck?
No, absolutely not.
Well,
I will say this though, for all the people who are looking at it, of the battle engines, it's 1, monetarily cheap, 2, it is really easy to assemble and really easy to paint. Like, it took me Crocodile Dundee 1 to assemble it and Crocodile Dundee 2 to paint it. And I was done.
That's actually pretty impressive.
And by Crocodile Dundee, he means watching the movie, not actually having the guy come over.
Paul Hogan is not that into miniatures games, but he's a pretty good RPGer.
So if I could find somebody to borrow a Meat Thresher, would you play too?
I actually literally don't know anyone who has one. And probably not.
This is what we need to do. We need to make Meat Threshers your Rhinodon.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, let's buy you a bunch of Meat Threshers. We can only have 2. So we need to buy you another Meat Thresher.
That's okay. We were planning on buying Steve more Rhinodons than he could ever actually physically field in a list.
That's true. And whenever they become plastic, then we'll just continue it on.
Now, when they become plastic, it resets the clock. It's back down to 0.
No generosity, please. No generosity. I'm bacon full enough already.
So, I mean, is it a situation where after you built the list, because I'm going to be blatantly honest with you, nothing on that list makes me super excited.
Because it's a Meat Thresher list.
Were you basically like sitting on the John going, here's my list, close?
No, I actually did tweak it, because originally it wasn't Roche and Brine, it was Wrong Eye and Snapjaw. So I actually visited it twice. And then I had to awkwardly open it a third time and talk to it for this podcast.
And then you're going to play it later on this week. Oh, man, can that please be one of your 2 lists that you get locked into?
Third time's the charm.
No.
Dude, I'm going to play Aurora.
Yeah, Aurora's good. The Meat Thresher's bad.
No. Fact. Aurora is considered the worst casting convergence.
Besides, you and me got a date with Orion and Epic Barnabas, who have also been playtesting a bunch.
God, we do, which I'm going to get my ass handed to me.
You got to play that matchup twice, because I think Fred wants a piece of you.
I think Fred just wants to destroy me. Killing me softly.
Fact.
I'm not entirely sure that Fred wants to play minions.
I think we might have derailed ourselves. Okay.
Well, yeah. Actually, I think, let's just... We're going a little bit past time, so we should probably just wrap this up. Final thoughts on anything?
Oh, fuck the TEP.
Hurtful. Herman.
I'm glad we got this out of our system. Hopefully once and for all.
Nope.
No, it won't, because Kevin's a bad man.
I will never let it go. Never let it go. I'll never forgive. Never forget.
All right, guys. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening to another episode of Turn Extension. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Thanks.